In the oil and gas industry, we are always raising money for scholarships, for this and for that, all pertaining to the oil and gas industry, and that's the crude truth. I'm very thankful for that. But what about all the other West Texas organizations out there? We're going to talk about one very special one on this episode of The Crude Truth.
In 1901, at Spindletop Hill near Beaumont, the future of Texas changed dramatically as, like a fountain of fortune, thousands of barrels of oil burst from the earth towards the sky. Soon, Detroit would be cranking out Model Ts by the millions, and America was on the move, thanks to the black gold being produced in Texas. Now, more than a century later, the vehicles are different, but nothing else has truly changed. Sure, there may be many other alternative energy sources like wind and solar and electric. But let's be honest, America depends on oil and entrepreneurs, and if the USA is truly going to be independent, it has to know the crude truth.
NAPE is a proud sponsor of The Crude Truth. Be sure to register for the NAPE Expo 2024, February 7th through the 9th at the George R. Brown Convention Center in Houston, Texas. Hurry and register today. NAPE, where deals happen.
This episode is brought to you by LFS Chemistry, committed to being good stewards of the environment and providing the tools so you can be too. NAPE Expo, where deals happen. Air Compressor Solutions. When everything is on the line, Air Compressor Solutions is the dependable choice to keep commercial business powered up. Sandstone Group. Exec Crew. Elevate your network, elevate your knowledge. Oil and Gas Workers Association. Pecos Country Operating. Fueling our future.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of the day it is. Just thank you as always for tuning in for another episode of The Crude Truth. If you're watching this episode, once again, I am coming to you from our wonderful downtown Austin location for Real News Communications. So thank you guys very much for that. I'm just so excited today that I was able to bring on a guest, and then our schedules were able to connect here in Austin. As in my teaser, we talk about that in the oil and gas industry. We are always raising money for scholarships, for cleaning up these oil wells, for this oil and gas organization, for that oil and gas organization. Well, guess what? There are a lot of other wonderful and meaningful organizations out there in the oil and gas industry, that are in the oil and gas industry, but also that are around West Texas, more importantly. And today I brought on just an amazing guest, and I can't even call him a guest. They're a friend of mine. Today, my guest and my friend is Brianna Johnson. Brianna, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I cannot complain. And thank you so much for coming on.
Yes, you finally talked me into it.
Oh my gosh! Well, you've just been a force out there in West Texas, with all your business development. And for those of y'all that don't know, Brianna Johnson is one of the best business development ladies that are out there in West Texas, just rocking and rolling.
This is the first I'm hearing of it.
Oh, well, okay. And but no, I'm so excited that our schedules were able to connect. You and your husband got into town yesterday. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah, shout out to Justin.
Yes.
And God bless him.
Oh, he has it easy.
Sure he does. Well, how's Austin treating you guys so far?
Going well. We haven't been here too long, but it's going well. We got in yesterday evening, grabbed a bite, and then got up this morning and worked out. So I love coming to Austin. I try to make it, I feel like, at least once a year. So it's a good 3-day, 4-day event maybe, and then it's time to go.
Treat it like Vegas. Go in, hit it hard, and then just get out.
Yeah,
and, Well, I'll tell you what, it's just been too awesome. And again, thank you all so much. Shout out to Justin. I see him over there on the sideline. I'll call him out that much, but he's here. And so again, thank you guys so much. Bree, in my teaser, I mentioned that, that there's so many organizations, but you're a part of one that's just it's a beautiful organization that's actually just helping out local people in West Texas, which I don't find very many of those. I mean, you've got some great organizations out there that do wonderful things, but something that's not oil and gas related. And, so since this is my show, and I wanted to highlight that, and wanted to talk a little bit about that organization today.
So I will say, I'm not officially a part of the organization.
Right.
Now, I came across, or we crossed paths I heard about their organization. So 2 years ago, I moved to Big Spring, got married, and just small town, and the few people that I met in my daily routine mentioned Tate's Place at one point and asked about it. They told me about it. And then I was actually in a business meeting with a gentleman, and his wife is on the board of Tate's Place. And it's a couple, and they started this organization. I guess I can say this. So they adopted 2 boys. One of them unfortunately passed away. And in his honor, his name was Tate. They started this organization, and they're wonderful. They basically just provide necessities to locally in Big Spring, but I think that they go, on the outskirts of it as well. And it's just anything people need: food, kids, back to school, backpack, shoes. They just did a back to school bash, and it was a huge event. I think they did like haircuts and so anything they need. I've been to they have their own building now. They have a refrigerated area, and they do fresh produce. They'll drop off food to people. They have volunteers that come and help. So, yeah.
That's, for those of y'all that out there that don't know Big Spring, it's a small town. It really is these days.
Yeah.
And so I think that small organization, I'll use that word, is doing big things. I mean, to be able to provide fresh food and fresh produce to people and give haircuts. I mean, Jesus. No, I mean it. I mean, I think that is just something that's awesome out there. And that's why I wanted you to come on today to highlight this type of organization, because other than the local food banks, you don't know about all these other type of groups out there. And that, hey, who we kidding? People are in need.
Yeah. And I think, especially the Permian Basin, I mean, most of us are there because we're in oil and gas. And we all know, I mean, especially if you're in the oil and gas industry, there are definitely tough times. But overall, we are very blessed. And a lot of us, as a group, as a whole, we do well. And there are different organizations and different associations. I'm on the Pipeliners Association for the Permian Basin. And, we do events, and we give money for scholarships. We give back to communities, and that's wonderful. And I think that we should nourish the oil and gas industry in terms of that. But I also think we should look at our community. There are people who aren't doing as well as some of us are. And that's, we're blessed. God blesses us with these careers and these jobs, and we should pass that along. So.
No, I can't disagree at all. And you talk about, the Pipeliners Association, and you've got the Oilfield Helping Hands. But, you look at the towns of Midland, and I've said this before, that people are just not giving to the community, not helping the community grow.
Yeah.
And I think in Big Spring, at one time, people, don't know, but that was the town in West Texas. That's Big Spring.
Yeah. So the guy who does our taxes and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Love taxes.
She looks at the camera and goes, I love taxes.
Thank you. Anyways, I was in there visiting with him the other day. And you know this. I'll get you on the phone and you're probably like, Bree, I gotta go. I can talk my head off to anyone. So we were sitting there talking, and he's from Big Spring. And he was telling me that used to be the town. Oh, yeah. Like the shopping. He was like, downtown was like Austin. You could barely move your car. And I like look outside and walk around Big Spring and think, I just can't picture it, but sure.
Oh man, no, there's a great book that I read. It's called The Kings of Big Spring.
Okay.
And it talks about several of the old of the families that were there, and kind of, that movie that came out, and also the book The Iron Orchard. That was technically the Big Springs area. The scenes with the big fancy hotel that's supposed to be like hotel settles.
Yeah. Well, they did that movie.
They did it there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go. Well, yeah. So
I think that was at Settles.
That's a pretty
Somebody
cool.
fact check me real quick.
Oh yeah, go. We'll fact check later. I'll probably put that as my producer will put that in the show notes. We'll put that in the show notes.
Don't cancel me over that.
But Big Spring is not what it once was, and that's something that I always talk about. Is like, why are we not just giving back to these communities to make them stronger? Because at the end of the day, it's all about the community and making it a stronger, better place for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so what Tate's Place is doing, I think, is just awesome. And it's just, I wanted to highlight it because it's not the pipeliners. It's not the, those people are getting love all the time.
Yeah.
They got love today from us just by mentioning them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but part of the reason, and you mentioned it, that you were working and you're in business development out there in West Texas, and you were just building up one heck of a network from midstream to downstream to upstream.
I'm trying.
And then how's that going?
It's going well. I will say, so this is my third, I guess this is a third industry that I have sold in since I graduated college. And I will say this has been the biggest learning lesson for me in terms of like sales, because before, my first position in sales when I graduated college, I sold for a company called Universe. We did like uniform programs and like restaurants. We would do like towels and floor mats and all of that stuff. So that was a pretty easy industry to sell in. Yeah. You don't have a whole lot of competition, especially in Abilene, Texas. There's like 2 other companies that I'm up against. And then I sold for a manufacturing company, and that was also, it was challenging, but it was not like oil and gas. Oil and gas is another monster.
It is.
So, especially chemical sales.
Well, and that's what you do.
Yeah.
And, what has been one of the biggest differences that you see from uniforms to manufacturing to oil and gas? I mean, what was your biggest shock?
Biggest shock. So, I work primarily within the Permian Basin, and I am calling on trying to build relationships with customers or potential customers. And, one thing is guaranteed, they already are using a chemical company.
Right.
Like, they're using one. And so I'm going to have to sit there and convince them for whatever reason why they need to use ours. And every single day I come across new names of new chemical companies that I've never heard of. And it's just like, I used to sell in industries where I had a few competitors I was going up against. And now it's just like, I have no idea. It's just a ton.
There's an industry, or there's like you're saying, there's basically a chemical company on every corner.
Yeah.
But there's also a pipe company on every corner. Yeah. And out there, and I've said this before, that if you're not, if you can't have it to them today, they'll go call somebody else. And I think that's unfortunate on the loyalty part of it. But I think out there also with individuals like you that are sitting there going, hey, let's talk about this. Let's work on this. And it's like, this is why you should, be working with my company. That's what truly builds relationships.
Yeah.
And out there, you've got, I think Midland is like 100,000 people that technically live there. But I think there's like 500,000 people that go through there on a monthly basis or something like that.
I would believe that.
And so you've got everybody and their grandmas out there trying to sell something. Yeah. And I don't envy you by any means. I mean, you just, but I also give a salesperson 5 minutes, but just don't call me stupid. The other day I was actually out in the field and I had a group call me. I'm like, well, if you're out in the field, maybe you're not the guy I want to talk to. I was like, oh, what? I was like, well, because I'm out here working on an oil well, I might not be the person that makes a
not
decision.
the statement to make.
No, definitely not the statement to make. And I was like, holy cow. And, but other than that, I usually like to at least give somebody 5 minutes, and because it's a hard job out there.
Oh yeah. So before I graduated school, when I was in college, I waited tables for several years. And I think that is where I learned the base skill set for selling. I feel like that you definitely, I always tell my friends, if you waited tables and you could do that for that long, you should try sales.
Yeah.
It's different, but it's the same. But I have close friends that I still speak with, that are, graduating school. They're transitioning out of that whole waiting tables career, and they'll call me and they've just gotten a new sales job and it's their first sales job. And they're just like, I just can't wait. Like, I'm just gonna make all this money and I'm just gonna sell all these things and I'm just gonna kill it. And, I have to watch myself. I'm like encouraged, but also this is not an easy career. I love it. And I can't imagine changing and doing something else, but it's challenging.
Oh yeah, and
It's tough.
you talk about waiting tables. I think sometimes those are some of the better salespeople out there.
Yeah.
Because it's like you have one great day. Like I waited tables my freshman year in college, and I was able to bartend a little bit during college there, when I did my undergrad in North Texas. And some days it was busy, other days it was dead. And the only way I was going to make $1 though was if I actually hustled.
Yeah.
And that's where I think sales equates to. You've got to be out there knocking on
yeah.
doors. The pertinent here being the politician, shaking hands and kissing babies, and you got to be networking.
Yeah.
What is one of the best things you think you've done as far as networking goes, that maybe one of your secrets that you can give on your tricks to networking and how you've been able to build that up?
I would say, and of course, I feel like part of becoming successful in anything in life is failure.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you learn, okay, don't do it like this, do it like this. I think one of the secrets to being in sales and being good at it is don't go into a room or don't approach somebody and think, I'm going to sell you something. Like I try to approach things like, I'm going to come in here and be myself, and like, let's build a friendship. And then I want you to see I'm a genuine person and you can trust me. And if I can help you out, that's wonderful. But if I can't, I just made a friend and, I'm building my network. And if I can't help you, you might have a friend who I can help. And it's just kind of like a big spider web.
Gotcha. So that's what you would say.
Also LinkedIn. I feel like LinkedIn, when I meet people that are in sales and they tell me they don't have a LinkedIn, I am just like, what? What are you doing? Like, that's basically, it's like it's a free tool.
It's absolutely a free tool, and it's technically free advertising if you don't get that other the one that you pay for every month.
Yeah, the premium one.
And it's done some great things. I post the Crude Truth on LinkedIn, and I think that it has helped out. And I definitely do my best to keep LinkedIn. Every now and then I probably post something about the president or something like that, as far as non-important issues with policy, again, with oil and gas. But I do my best to definitely keep LinkedIn as a professional place that, hey, here's what we're doing. This is what's going on. And the advertising that you can do and the impressions that you can see on LinkedIn are ridiculous.
Well, and I think it's nice too, because it really does put a face with a name. I feel like if I'm going to try and cold call, email somebody, if I've made a connection with them on LinkedIn and like I've looked at their page, I've seen them look at mine, I know that they know who I am to a degree. I just feel like even though I haven't been able to sit down and put that personal touch with it and like visit with them in person, it's better than nothing,
Bree, I cannot thank you enough for coming on the show today. Justin, thank you all very much, and looking forward to visiting with you guys and continuing on. And that's it. We'll see y'all here on another episode of The Crude Truth.
Again, thank you to our sponsors, LFS Chemistry, Nape Expo, Air Compressor Solutions, Exec Crew, Oil and Gas Workers Association, Pecos Country Operating.
The easiest way to start your own podcast and TV show? Real News Communications Network. Stand out from your competition. Produce streams of high-quality social media content. Become a thought leader in your industry. With RNCN, you get to be the host. We handle everything else. Tour one of our 3 locations in Dallas, Fort Worth, and the Colony. Call 972-402-6333 or visit launchashow.com to find out more.